Rishi Sunak is set to apologise today to the victims of the infected blood scandal as an inquiry publishes its long-awaited report into what has been called the biggest disaster in NHS history. More than 30,000 people in the UK were infected with HIV and hepatitis C after receiving contaminated blood between the 70s and the 90s. Well, founder of the body shop Dame Anita Roddick was one of those victims. She contracted hepatitis C from a transfusion after the birth of her daughter, Sam. Well, Sam joins us now from Wales, and Dr Hilary is here as well. And Sam, how are you feeling about today? Gosh, it's been a long, hard fight to get to this place, hasn't it?
Well, clearly, I think everybody who has been subjected to this kind of multi-institutional betrayal has got their hearts in their hands and in their mouths, and you know, there's a lot of anticipation. But you know, to be able to talk about this scandal is of utmost importance, not only today but continuation, so that behaviour changes can, you know, be made.
Absolutely. What are you hoping for today? What would make you think that justice has been done finally?
Well, I think justice is going to be an ongoing issue. I think what I'm hoping for is that all of the decisions and across all of the institutions are kind of laid out bare, and we can actually see how corporations and governments and actually the bureaucracy of the NHS have made choices that are anti-society, anti-morality, and in many ways are morally criminal. And I think within that, the extent of it hopefully shows how corporate law is designed to protect itself in many ways, and actually is set up to, with the lack of transparency, to permit actually moral criminal behaviour to exist within all of our supply chains across all industries. And we're seeing that because there is like multiple inquiries happening, you know, across the, you know, in the UK right now. And, you know, a public inquiry, you know, an inquiry isn't a rare thing anymore.
No, that's very true. And Sam, your mum had to live with this condition, with hepatitis C. She really was extraordinary, your mum, so far ahead of her time, an astonishing businesswoman, you know, thinking about the planet before anyone else did. But she was also a teacher, and she was your mum. And it must have been heartbreaking for you and for the rest of the family to see her suffering like this.
Well, my mum was a force, and you know, her passion and her conviction, her moral conviction, and really her vehicle was to change the face of business, to show that business can contribute to society and be in service to society. And, you know, what was ironic was that she and her kind of business championed her supply chain, the farmers who grew, you know, the bananas or the shea butter, who were fighting their land rights themselves. She basically championed their stories. So her business was pretty much like polar opposite to the businesses that actually infected her. And I think there is a big lesson for us all to understand that these changes need to occur, and business should no longer be able to protect themselves. They should be answerable to civil society and, you know, common law.
Absolutely. There's talk of compensation, massive amounts of compensation, we understand. But that doesn't in any way go towards alleviating any of the grief and the pain and the distress and the ongoing distress of yourself and everyone else who's either been a victim or who's watched somebody that they love die or get very sick.
I mean, I think the thing is that while 30,000 people were infected, each person has a family orbit of, let's say, at least 10 people. So the amount of people it has affected negatively, like a negative domino effect, is absolutely massive. And I think the reality is compensation is the lowest common denominator in justice. And it's a bitter sting in many ways. How do you pay for a life lost? Or how do you pay for like the debt incurred? Or how do you pay for sickness and not being able to fulfill your dreams? And I think the reality is compensation is easy for corporations because profits can be recovered and actually behaviour then is continued. So we need to reframe actually how do we hold these institutions to account. And quite frankly, right now, our globe is basically buckling under such industrial bad decisions, whether it's climate change, whether it is, you know, poisoning of our waters, whether it is, you know, and we are taught to trust our institutions that they take care of us as a society, but this is clearly not true. So I do think we need to reframe how we hold corporations to account and institutions and governments. And the economy is no longer serving our society. We can see that with a disparaging difference between, you know, those who are wealthy and those who are poor. So who is the economy in service to right now?
Sam, you raise such important points. I hope that you get what you want today and that everybody does. Thank you for joining us. We've got Dr Hilary here as well. This is a terrible, terrible scandal. I can't even begin to imagine what it's been like to live with it, you know, especially, you know, Sam seeing her mother with hepatitis C. And there might be more people out there that have got this they don't even know.
There will be undiagnosed cases of hep C out there. And of course, this was an avoidable situation.
That's what's so terrible about it.
You know, warnings were not heeded. And then there was a cover-up of, you know, resources for the NHS could have been, you know, repositioned somewhere else, and overwhelming liver units was a worry. But people knew about this, and those people who were most at risk were not warned. There wasn't enough awareness. In fact, awareness was dampened down deliberately. So I do hope that the result of the inquiry will be a vindication for the victims and will go some way to alleviating the grief that they've suffered and are still suffering.
I hope so. I hope so. We'll find out later today. I'm sure we'll be talking about this